I guess it's ultimately my question to kind of get a sense of the market is that, what are the big innovations these days? Is it AI with a data warehouse? Is it some sort of interoperability? Mike, what's your sense of like what some sort of a newer, the newer toys and newer fangled technology in terms of data warehouses these days? What's happening?
Well, I'd have to say that the one thing that most people are talking about is bringing in more real-time data streams and more, I hate to say operational and transactional, but really bringing in data that's fresher and getting it in there the same day in order to make decisions, not just about historical data that's a day or a week old, but about data that's just happened and the data that's been a week or a month old. And I think in some cases you mentioned machine learning. I think that accelerates that because when you want to train and apply models, you want to give them the biggest footprint of data you can to look at to get the best recommendation. So that I think goes hand in hand with that.
Is it? I mean, when I think about a cloud data warehouse, should I automatically think, oh, it has AI and ML built into it? Or is that still cutting edge in terms of the data warehouse world?
I think that you're going to find increasing amounts of more modern analytics, I think what people call them, in terms of, they'll say we have predictive analytics, we have advanced analytics, we have other things. Sometimes that means machine learning. Most often it means just a better job of doing analysis on the data they have and being able to look backwards and prorate that forwards, some linear regression and such. But I think increasingly we're finding in the cloud, you can marry things up. So I can take my data warehouse, and if it doesn't have machine learning necessarily embedded in it, I can go to another cloud service that does machine learning and integrate those things pretty quickly. So it does accelerate, and I think there is a lot of machine learning going on in that environment, but not necessarily part and parcel of the single product.
Right. Neil, what would you say in terms of newfangled innovations going on in the data warehouse sector or the cloud data warehouse sector, which seem to be joined at this point? What's new and exciting in that world?
Yeah, so I think Mike hit the nail on the head with the real time, and then there's transactional. What we're seeing is there's I think it's a change in the process of maintaining and building the data sets. The idea of migrating data from external systems into the data warehouse, people are trying their hardest to actually run against the live data. Sometimes this is where basically the data warehouse and the transactional database are the same data set. We see a lot of people doing that with our data, but then real-time links to remote data sources, being able to handle streams from IoT. So a lot of stuff happening with IoT and as real time, a lot of stuff happening with trying to minimize the amount of data that's moved, except at query time, and working to focus on performance and so on around those. As far as advanced analytics, you see graph databases, you see text processing, spatial, and so on. What we're seeing is the more advanced companies are looking to have one single solution which can bring that can store the data in these different formats and also bring engines to bear on those data as part of a single query engine. So they don't want to have a separate copy of the data for their spatial database and another one for their graph database. They want to have one copy of the data stored in a format that engines can, a single multi-purpose engine can get value from. It's a very fast changing world. Mike's head must be spinning trying to keep up with it.
Yeah, every single one of these things I do, I also learn something too, and I have to walk away now and go study more and more and more.
Right.
Yeah.